Hello! So today we're going to work on another mini album from start to finish, and this time we're even going to put pictures in it. So we will completely finish an album, which is something I don't normally do, but I've already decided the pictures, I've already printed them, and we're ready to go. So to get started, what you're going to need is some pattern paper. I chose this 6x6 paper pad from my Mind's Eye. It's called Kate & Co. It's pretty pinks and teals and a little tiny bit of navy blue in there. I liked the color combination. And it says, there's this paper there that says, "What a lovely day with you." And so I thought that it went well with the pictures I'm using. So I'm using that. I have the 6x6 pad. And then normally when I'm going to make a mini album, I purchase 12 by 12 sheets. I purchase 3 of them, 2 for the covers and 1 for the spine, because I never know how big I'm going to make my album. And a lot of times it's easier to do it with pattern paper. So I purchased those for the covers. And then I also got the 12 by 12 sheet of the tags because I liked them a lot and I wanted to use them, and because it was buy 2 get 1 free, I also got 1 extra sheet just for whatever. So I purchased those as well. And then the last, or one more thing that we're using is cardstock. I'm using 8.5 by 11 cardstock in a bright pink and a teal color, or an aqua color, whatever you want to call it. My camera doesn't quite do it justice, so you just have to use your imagination there. And then also you're going to need some chipboard. I have 2 pieces that I cut down to 6 by 6. No, wait, I cut these down to 6 1/4 by 6 1/4 because my pages are going to be 6 by 6. And then I also have an extra one for my spine. I haven't decided exactly how I'm doing my spine yet, so I haven't cut those, but I have the scraps from these sitting aside for the spine. So, to start off, normally I cover my, I do my covers and everything first, but I don't know exactly how big I'm going to make my album, so I'm going to do this one a little bit different, and we're going to start with the pages, okay? And I'm going to make all of my base pages out of the cardstock, and I'm going to alternate colors. So, our first page is going to be pink, and what we're going to do is put it in, excuse my sniffling, I'm sorry, I have a little bit of allergies here. So we're going to put this in here like this, and we're going to make our first score mark at 6. Okay. Just going to score it right at 6, and then we're going to go over just 1/4 of an inch and make another score mark. Okay, and then I'm going to turn it, and I'm going to make a score at 6 again. Okay, that's part of my first page, and I'm going to do the rest of it. This page has 2 parts, so I'm going to do this part. I take another page and I'm putting it in, and I'm going to score it at 1/2 inch, and then I'm going to go over 6 inches from that, which is 6 1/2, and I'm going to score it at 1/2 inch, or at the 6 1/2 inch mark. Then I'm going to turn it, and I'm going to score this one at the 6 1/2. Nope, I'm going to score this at the 6 inch mark. Okay. So we scored it on this side at 1/2 inch and 6 1/2 inches, and then we turned it and we scored it at 6 inches. Okay. So for this page, we're done with that for now. So we can put our scoreboard away and get our scissors and our. I'm just going to use my cutter real quick for this because it's a little bit easier. What I'm going to do is I'm putting this score mark. I have a score mark right there. I'm putting that on my 1/2 inch mark. So what I'm doing is essentially I'm cutting 1/2 inch from that score mark. Okay, and I'll show you what I mean. There's the score, so I cut 1/2 inch from that. And then I'm going to do the exact same thing on this one as well. I'm just going to cut 1/2 inch. And you could just pre-cut this if you wanted to 6.5 by 7. And then scored it 1/2 inch around on 3 sides. I just chose to do it that way because I already had my scoreboard out. And then save your big pieces for tags or whatever for now. Then we're going to put this one away. And we're going to cut off these corners here. Just like so. Cut off this corner. Just like that. And I'm not going to worry about the top because we're going to remove those in a minute. Okay, so then all you want to do is set all your folds here. I'm just going to push them all up. And lastly, just like that. Now we're just going to set this aside for now and we're going to get this page. And what we're going to do here is we're going to cut this. We have 2 score marks here, so we're going to cut on this one right here, which is that would be the score mark. That's the 6 inches, okay? So what that does, whoops, I'll turn it over so you can see the scores better. That gives us, there, just like that. And then what we're going to do is remove, one side is smaller. See how this side is bigger? This is the 6 inch side and this is the smaller side. We're just going to remove the whole bottom portion of that one. So we're just left with what's above that. And I'm just cutting right on the score mark there. And this is what we're left with. Okay? You can see the score marks there. Alright, now we just do our folds there. Make sure that this fold does not overlap, or what's left of this bottom portion does not overlap into your score, because if it does, you're going to want to cut it off. So I'm just going to remove just a teeny bit more because I don't want it to overlap at all. Okay, so there we have that. And one more fold. Okay, now we have the start of our page. So this is what it looks like so far. When you open it, it looks like that. And then you have this seam there that's going to look like that. Okay, then what you're going to do is you're going to take this, which you folded, and you're going to put it, it's going to go on here, but the first thing you have to do is remove this little bit of extra flap there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my adhesive on the bottom. Just like that. And then now what I did is I flipped it over, so I'm working on this side where the flap is folded in, okay? And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to butt the end of this piece of paper right up to the score that I have there, but not over it. It's very important that you don't go over your score mark. Otherwise you'll have issues with it folding and going into your spine easily. So now this is what you're left with. Now what we want to do is I'm just going to take my pencil here and I'm just going to make a little mark there. What that's going to do is show me what I want to remove. So I'm just going to take this much off of the flap. So I'm left with something that looks like that. Okay, and I need to remove just a teeny bit more. I like to try to remove the whole part that you score. It'll help it to look a little bit better. Then we're going to do the same thing on the other side, and you'll notice that I'm removing it at an angle as well, just to help it flow better once it's a pocket. Okay, and then you're just going to, so that's what you have now. All we're going to do is fold those up, and then you put this down. Now if you wanted to, you could give this a decorative edge so that it was, you know, prettier or whatever you wanted to do. I personally don't want to do that for this one, so I'm just going to go ahead and apply my adhesive to the flap there and the flap there, and then I'm going to bring this onto them. And now I have created a pocket. Okay. What I was going to do originally was create a flap to go over this, but I decided not to. Okay, so there's that, and then what you're going to do over here is this is going to become a pocket as well, but you have a choice if you want that on the inside where this pocket is, or you can move it to the outside so you have a pocket there and not a pocket in here and another pocket, and then you'll have a blank page, and I think that's what I'm going to do. So all I did was flip my pocket around to the front, and now I'm just going to take a piece of scratch paper that I have here, or a piece of just a piece of paper here, and I'm just going to cut it down to the size that I need it, and then I'm going to fold it. I don't worry a whole lot about the hinges. I know I probably should, but I cover them with paper anyway, so they're really not gonna ever be seen. So all I'm doing is creating a hinge so that I can make this into a pocket. Okay. And then I'm just gonna cut it down so that it fits better. Perfect. Then I'm going to apply my adhesive to one side of the flap, and I'm going to put it right on there so that the fold of the hinge is right up against the edge of that pocket, but not coming off of it, just right up there. And then stick it down good, and then do the other one. And I like to make it so that if I happen to cut it a little short, like I did on this one, I always line it up with the top edge of the pocket, because that's the more important part. Okay, and then that's how it's gonna go. So we're just gonna put a little adhesive there and there, and then we're going to fold that up and place it up there. And then when our page is finished, this is what it looks like for now. So this is essentially our page. And I should say that I got this idea from another YouTuber, and I'm sorry, but I got it when I was just browsing and I didn't pay attention to the name. but it kind of stuck with me that that's how I wanted to try. I wanted to try to make my binding this way. And she created her pages first. So if anyone knows who it is, put her name down below so that I can give her credit, because she inspired me to try it this way. I have lots of different ways that I do it, but I thought this way looked kind of nice. And plus, then you're putting it all together beforehand, so you know exactly how many pages. That's why I didn't finish off my spine, so that however many pages I need to complete to put in all of the pictures that I have, well, then I know what I need. Okay, so this is our first page. We're just going to leave this alone for now and set it aside. Next, we're going to get a piece of blue and our scoreboard again. And we're going to do the same exact marks for the base of the page. We're just going to, oops, sorry, I'm going to cut it there anyways. We're going to score it at 6, and then 6 1/4. Then we're going to turn it, and we're going to score it at 6 again. Okay, and now we're going to do the same exact thing. We're going to cut it on this score mark. There we go. And we're going to remove this one again. Okay, this base page is really simple. Okay, now let's go ahead and do these up, and I'm not going to put them down yet because I don't know. I haven't decided which side I'm going to put it on yet. So I'm just going to do the folds, make sure everything folds up nicely. Okay. So now we have that. You can see the opening. Okay. Make sure that it works correctly if I want that inside, and it does. Then the next step, I'm going to get my cutter again, and now I know that this is 6 inches tall, but I want it to be only 4 inches, so I'm going to put my last score mark on the 4-inch mark and cut. And then I'm going to divide it in half. So since it's 6, I'm going to put my paper on the 3, and I'm going to slice it up to the score mark, and that is it. So essentially that creates 2 little, just 2 little mini flowing pages that open individually of each other. Okay. And I think for this one, I want my pocket to be there. So I'm going to go ahead and just cut. This is what I cut off of the other side. I'm just going to go ahead and cut it down. And fold it up. And fold it again. All I'm doing here is creating a way to attach my pockets down. Okay, so since it's never going to be seen, I'm not even being real careful about it. Just apply my adhesive, place this right next to the edge but not over it. Same thing here, right up next to the edge, but not over it. You could just use glue and put these down, but I like to have the full pocket, so I prefer to do something like this. And then bring it up. And that page is done. Now, you could turn these into pockets if you wanted to place some pockets on there. For this one, I think I'm just going to go ahead and leave them alone. And I will just put something on them. I'm not sure what, but they will just be free-flowing pages. So that page is done. Okay. Then, that is the extent of what I have planned for my pages, but I'm going to do another one. Oopsie. So, grab our scoreboard again, and we score it once again at 6, 6 1/4, turn it, and score it at 6 again. Then we're going to go ahead and cut. You could really, you know, do all of these in advance. It would probably be easier, but for me, I'm kind of just working as I go, so I'm not going to do it in advance. But if you have a plan, or if you want to do them all the same, or whatever, do all your scoring in advance, and it'll be much easier for you. Okay. Now for this one, let's see here. I'm just gonna, whoops. I gotta remove a little more of this because it's not gonna close up easily if it stays on the inside. Still more. There we go. And then I'm sure you all know by now that I'm not a perfectionist. So I don't spend a whole lot of time making sure everything is perfect, which a lot of times leads me to have to do it over again, but it's just kind of the way I craft. Alright, for this one, let's create a pocket on the back that is this size. Okay. Nope. So we need another piece of paper. And the first thing we need to do, because I don't know what size that is, let's find out what size that is. It is 4 3/4. So, what if we're going to create a pocket? I want my pocket to open off the top instead of off the sides. So I know to the 4 3/4 I need to add 1 inch, so I can have 1/2 inch on each side. And then I also know that I need to add 1 inch or 1/2 inch to the top or the bottom so that I can have a 1/2 inch hinge on the bottom. Okay, so that means we're going to do this at 5 3/4 by 6 1/2. Okay, so if you want to cut it first, you know, to make it a little bit easier, you can go ahead and do that, or you can score it like we did the last one. I'm going to go ahead and cut it. 5 3/4. Save that. By 6 1/2. Okay. Then we're going to put this in our scoreboard at the 6 1/2 mark and score it at 6. And then turn it, and we're going to score it at 1/2 inch. And then we're going to turn it all the way and score it at another 1/2 inch. So I scored it at a 1/2 inch on this side, a 1/2 inch on this side, and a 1/2 inch on the bottom. And that should help me to get a nice pocket. Okay. Alright. Now we fold this up. Fold that up. And that one. Now we make sure that it fits. Okay. So now on this one, make sure that wherever, you know, whichever side you're putting it on, you do not overlap your score mark. Most important thing. There we go. And there we have that pocket, which I will finish up more when I'm ready to decorate it. So now we have 3 pages. Let's do another one. We'll do this one out of blue. Score mark at 6 and 6 1/4 and at 6. Okay. Then we're going to go ahead and cut these. Folded that one up. Just like that. And then there we have that. So there's our page again. And I think, oops, you know what? I never stuck down that pocket, so I gotta do that too. I think for this one, what I'm going to do is create a flap that will open from this side. So I want to put this flap on this side. Fold it in, folded, and cut. Cut. Then lay this down Okay. One and okay. Now let's create a flap that will fold. I want it to fold in on this so that it'll open this way. And then maybe I'll create another one that will open this way off of it. I don't know. Let's start with this one. So the first thing we need to do is we want it to be the exact size, which means we don't want it to be any bigger than 6. So we're going to go ahead and just cut it down to 6 right away. And then we also know that this piece of paper is 4 3/4, so we know it can't be bigger than 4 3/4 because it won't fold in. So first thing I'm going to do is make a score mark at 1/2 inch. Then I'm going to go over to 4 1/2, which would make it 4 inches. Let's go to 4 3/4. There we go. And then from there, we'll go to, thank you. We'll go to 8 3/4, and we'll just make a little mark because we're going to cut it there, I think. Yeah, I think so. That makes this part 4 1/4 and this part 4 inches. And actually, I think I changed my mind. I'm going to cut this one at 9 because maybe I want to give this a decorative edge. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut this off at 9. Okay. And then, actually, I'm going to leave those on. We'll go ahead and fold those up. Fold this in like that. Okay. So what we want to do then is we're going to place that right over there so that it opens like this. Okay. So we're going to open up our fold, put the adhesive in there, then line up our papers, line them up exactly so that they match perfectly, and then fold that over. And now we have something that opens like that. And it's almost seamless. Once we put our regular papers on, you won't even be able to tell that we attached it. Okay. And so there's another page done. Let's go ahead and do these real quick. that gives us 4 pages done. And I think what I want to start with is 5. So we'll do one more real quick. And then that way, if I want to add another one, I still can. The only real downside of doing the spine this way is that it's going to have a really thick, a really fat spine, but that's okay, I guess. I've done something kind of like this before, but not exactly, where the papers were scored like this. Oh no! We are out of tape. Let me just grab this one real quick just so I can fold this up. Okay. There's that page, and there's our 4 pages. All set. I think I'm going to put, nope, I'm not going to, because I'm going to leave them like that. Now we have one more page to make a pink one. I'm going to go ahead and make a pink page. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm sort of going to play off this one, but I'm going to turn these into pockets. Okay. So get our pink page. Start off with our score marks, 6, 6 1/4, and 6. And then remove this portion and that portion, and then let's just make sure that that folds up. It does. Just need to remove a tiny sliver. All gone. Perfect. Now we can put this away. And then now, in order to create those flaps and to make them into a pocket, we need to first I think I'm going to leave them at 4 3/4. Maybe I'll cut it to 4 1/2. 4 1/2 long. Okay, so we know it's 4 1/2, and we know that these are going to be 3 inches. So the only thing we need to decide then is, do you want your pockets to open on the edges or on the top? Meaning, do you want them to open up here, or do you want them to open up here? Okay, because that's how you're going to determine the size that you're going to cut. Okay. So I think for me, my pages are going to, my pockets I mean, are going to open along this edge. Actually, I think what I'm going to do is this one's going to open on this edge, and this one is, no, this one's going to open on the top edge, and this one's going to open on the side. So we need two different measurements. So for this one, if we want it to open on the top, that means we need it to be 3.5 inches, because we needed to add the 1/2 inch for the bottom. And then it's 4.5 here, so we need it to be 5.5 inches by 5.5, and that gives us the top opening. And then this one is the side opening, so we know that this is 3 inches. No, wait, this is 4.5 inches this way, so that means we need it to be 5 by, we need the top and the bottom to close, so we need it to be by, we need 1 inch on there, which is going to make us 4 inches. Okay. Was that confusing enough for you? Alright, so I'm going to grab a couple of scraps because I think they're big enough here. I'm going to start off with 3.5 by 5.5. 3.5 by 5.5, and just to make it easier for me, I'm going to remember that that is my top. And then for the bottom, I need it to be 4 inches, perfect, by 5 inches. Excellent. This piece will work perfect. Okay. And then I'm just going to write bottom on here. So I will remember. Oh no, wait. I want this to be the side. Then I will remember that I need the side to open. Okay. So then we put this away. Let's start with our top. So we're going to put this in here the long way, and we're going to score it at 1/2 inch and 5 inches. And then we're going to score it at 3. Okay, so there's our top pocket. And then this is our side way. So we're going to score this one at 1/2 inch and 3.5 inches, and then we're going to score it at 4.5 inches on that side. Okay, so we have all those. We'll just cut these little corners out to make it easier to work with. Cut this corner out and that corner. Move that and that and that and that. Perfect. Now, good thing you guys have the fast forward button there. I'm just gonna do all these folds up, and it doesn't matter to me that I wrote on them, because once I cover these with pattern paper, you won't be able to tell anyways. I tend to do that a lot. I just write on them because I'm going to cover it so it won't show. Okay. Then I'm going to apply my, oh, I forgot, my tape gun ran out. Okay. Quickly replace this. Now we can apply the adhesive to there, to there, and since we have it out, let's just go ahead and apply it to this one and this one and there. And then this is our side pocket, so let's stick that up. Most importantly, we want to make sure that we do not overlap the fold because we do not want to interfere with the way that this is going to fold up the base of the page, okay? So keep that in mind whenever you're laying it down. Make sure that you keep it on the other side of the of the score mark, sorry. Then just place this one down. And there we go. Now we have two little pockets, which for some reason didn't end up exactly the same size as the paper down below, so I'm just going to remove a little tiny bit. Like so. And then this one opens this way, and this one opens on the top, and they both close like that. Perfect. And now you have 5 pages, and that's your spine. Okay? And we will be back for the decorating in the next video.